The War Council chamber aboard the dreadnought Vexthara hummed with confidence. Too much confidence, if you ask me. But nobody was asking. They never do when victory seems certain. Commander Zyloth stood at the holographic display, all four of his arms crossed in what our species considers the ultimate expression of smugness. His mandibles clicked together in what passed for laughter among the Crithian elite. A single vessel, he said, his voice dripping with amusement. One pathetic little ship. The humans send us one ship as their response to our armada. The other officers erupted into chittering laughter. I watched from my position at the scanning station, feeling my skin plates shift uncomfortably. Something felt wrong. Very wrong. Sir, I ventured carefully, perhaps we should analyze their approach vector more carefully before we what? Junior Scanner Threx. Zyloth's eyes fixed on me with irritation. Before we laugh at the cosmic joke that just warped into our sensor range? Look at it. The vessel is barely 300 meters long. We have fighters bigger than that. He wasn't wrong about the size. The human ship, if you could even call it that, looked like someone had taken a cargo hauler and strapped some weapons to it. No impressive architecture. No intimidating design. Just a grey, boxy thing that seemed to shimmer slightly at the edges. That shimmer bothered me more than I wanted to admit. Running a full spectrum scan now, Commander, I reported, trying to keep my voice steady. Don't waste our time with scans, Threx. Target the weapons array. Let's send these primitives back to their little blue world in pieces. Maybe then they'll understand who rules this sector. The weapons officer, a scarred veteran named Gree, moved to comply. His claws danced across the targeting console with practiced ease. I'd seen him destroy entire planetary defense grids without breaking a sweat. This should have been simple. Should have been. Targeting lock acquired, Commander. Awaiting your order. Zyloth's mandibles spread wide in what I can only describe as predatory glee. Fire at will. Show them the price of challenging the Crithian Empire. The Vexthara shuddered as our main plasma cannons unleashed their fury. Enough firepower to vaporize a small moon streaked through space toward that lonely human vessel. I found myself holding my breath, which is stupid because we Crithians can hold our breath for 6 hours if needed. But something about this moment made my lungs feel tight. The plasma barrage hit. Or rather, it should have hit. What in the void? Greer's voice cracked with confusion. Commander, the shots, they just vanished. Explain yourself. Zyloth barked. I can't, sir. The energy readings show our weapons fired correctly. Full power. But when they reached the target coordinates, they just ceased to exist. No impact. No deflection. No explosion. Nothing. I stared at my scanner display, my blood running cold. The readings I was getting made no sense whatsoever. None. The human ship wasn't just sitting there. It was doing something to the space around it. Bending it. Folding it. Playing with it like a child plays with clay. Sir, I said quietly, I'm picking up massive gravitational distortions emanating from their vessel. The energy signature is unlike anything in our database. It's as if they're manipulating. Spare me your technical babbling. Zyloth snapped. All ships, converge on that target. I want every cannon we have pointed at that insult to our greatness. Fire everything. The rest of our fleet, all 47 warships, opened fire simultaneously. The space between us and the human vessel lit up like a newborn star. Enough destructive power to crack a planet's crust filled the void with brilliant, deadly light. And every single shot vanished the moment it got within 1 kilometer of their ship. Every single one. This is impossible, Gree whispered. Several other officers began making religious gestures. I didn't blame them. I was considering doing the same. Then the human ship moved. I say moved, but that's not quite accurate. It didn't accelerate. It didn't engage thrusters. It simply was in a different location. One moment, 5,000 kilometers away. The next moment, right in front of us. Between one heartbeat and the next. Evasive maneuvers, Zyloth shouted, his confidence finally cracking like thin ice over deep water. Too late. Always too late when you underestimate your enemy. The human vessel extended what looked like a single arm, mechanical and precise. At the end of that arm was a device that made my scanner scream with warnings I'd never seen before. Energy readings that shouldn't exist. Power levels that violated half the laws of physics I'd learned at the academy. "Commander," I said, my voice barely above a whisper, "I recommend immediate retreat." "Sir, I strongly recommend." The device activated. I'll never forget that sound. Have you ever heard reality tear? I have. It sounds like 1,000 crystal bells shattering while someone screams underwater. It sounds like the universe saying no to something fundamental. The dreadnought Killax, our second largest ship, simply stopped. Not destroyed. Not damaged. Just stopped. Every system. Every light. Every life sign. Gone in an instant. The mighty vessel became nothing more than a 3-kilometer-long coffin, drifting silently in the void. All ships. Fire. Fire now. Zyloth was screaming now, his composure completely shattered. The human vessel moved again. This time to the left flank. The device activated a second time. Another ship stopped. Then another. And another. 4 capital ships. Silent. Dead. In less than 30 seconds. Attempting communication on all frequencies, someone shouted. Probably Vex from communications. Hard to tell. Everyone was shouting now. My scanner pinged. Incoming transmission. Human origin. They're responding, Commander. Put it through. Zyloth demanded. A voice came through our speakers. Human. Male. Calm as still water. Terrifyingly calm. This is Captain Marcus Webb of the Earth Defense Vessel Prometheus. You attacked our colony. You killed 3,000 civilians. Women. Children. Families just trying to live their lives on the edge of known space. There was a pause. In that pause, another of our ships went dark. We asked for peace. We offered trade. We extended every courtesy. You responded with violence. You laughed at our warnings. You mocked our diplomatic envoys. The human ship moved again, faster than our sensors could track properly. Another ship died. So here's what happens next. The silence that followed Captain Webb's words felt heavier than a collapsed star. I watched my scanner display with growing horror as the remaining ships in our fleet tried desperately to maneuver away from the Prometheus. Tried being the key word here. They're matching our movements perfectly, Commander. Lieutenant Vex shouted from the navigation console. Every evasive pattern we execute, they counter before we even complete it. It's like they know what we're going to do before we know. Zyloth's mandibles were clicking rapidly now, a nervous tick I'd never seen from him before. Sweat glistened on his carapace. Deploy the quantum mines. Create a barrier between us and that ship. Now. Gree complied, launching 36 of our most advanced explosive devices. They spread out in a perfect defensive grid, each one capable of generating a miniature black hole on detonation. Enough to shred anything that came close. The human ship flew straight through them. Not around them. Through them. The mines didn't explode. They didn't even activate. They just went inert as the Prometheus passed by, as if someone had flipped a switch and turned off the laws of physics in that particular section of space. How? I muttered, staring at readings that made my head hurt. How are they doing this? Captain Webb's voice returned, still maddeningly calm. You're probably wondering about our technology. That's natural. Curiosity is a survival trait, after all. Let me satisfy that curiosity before we conclude our business here. Another ship went dark. We were down to 34 vessels now. 34 out of 47. In less than 5 minutes. You see, humanity spent a very long time being afraid. Afraid of the dark. Afraid of predators. Afraid of each other. We learned something important from all that fear. We learned that the best defense isn't a bigger gun. It's making your enemy's gun irrelevant. The Prometheus stopped moving. Just hung there in space, perfectly still. Somehow, that was more terrifying than when it had been darting around like a ghost. We discovered something interesting about space-time about 60 years ago. Right around the time your scouts first entered our system, actually. Funny coincidence, that. Turns out, if you push space-time in exactly the right way, you don't need to break the laws of physics. You just need to politely ask them to step aside for a moment. I pulled up the detailed scans I'd been running since this nightmare began. The data was impossible. The human ship existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously. It was here. It was there. It was everywhere within a certain radius. Probability clouds made solid. Schrödinger's warship. Sir, I said, my voice shaking, their vessel is utilizing quantum superposition at a macroscopic scale. They're not dodging our weapons. They're existing in a state where being hit is simply one probability among infinite others, and they're collapsing that probability wave to exclude any outcome where they take damage. It's completely insane, but it's what the data shows. Zyloth stared at me like I'd just spoken in ancient poetry. In language I can understand, Threx. They're choosing their own reality, sir. And in the reality they choose, our weapons don't work. Another pause. Another dead ship. 33 left. Now, Captain Webb continued, you're probably wondering why I'm taking my time. Why not just disable all your ships at once and be done with it? Good question. The answer is simple. I want you to understand. I want you to feel what those colonists felt when your fleet appeared over their settlement. The helplessness. The terror. The slow realization that nothing they did would matter. We surrender. Zyloth finally screamed, his pride shattering like glass. We surrender. Please. We'll leave your space. We'll pay reparations. Oh, you'll definitely do all of those things, Webb interrupted. But not yet. Not until you've sat here and watched your fleet die ship by ship. Not until you understand, at a level deeper than logic, that humanity is not to be trifled with. Ever. Again. 32 ships. 31. 30. The countdown continued with mechanical precision. Gree was openly weeping at his station. Several junior officers had collapsed. I felt my own legs trembling but forced myself to stay upright. Someone needed to document this. Someone needed to survive to tell our people what had happened here. You know what the really funny part is? Webb's voice had taken on a darkly amused tone. We tried to avoid this. We really did. We kept the Prometheus classified. A secret. We didn't want to have to use it because we knew what would happen. We knew that the moment we revealed this capability, everything would change. The balance of power in this sector. The political landscape. All of it. 28 ships now. Our fleet was dying before my eyes. But you couldn't help yourselves, could you? You saw our peaceful colonies and thought easy targets. You looked at our diplomatic vessels and thought primitive fools. You made the same mistake every bully makes. You assumed kindness meant weakness. 25 ships. Sir, I whispered to Zyloth, I'm recording everything. When this is over, when they let us go, someone needs to take this data back home. Someone needs to make sure our people understand what we're facing. Zyloth just nodded, unable to speak. He looked smaller now. Diminished. A legend reduced to a frightened child. 20 ships remained when Webb spoke again. Here's what happens after today. You're going to limp home in whatever ships I leave you. You're going to tell your superiors exactly what you saw. You're going to make it very clear that Earth's colonies are permanently off limits. That any Crithian vessel that enters human space without explicit permission will suffer the same fate. Are we understanding each other? Yes. Zyloth shouted desperately. Yes. We understand. Please. Good. Because humanity doesn't want war. We never did. But if you bring war to our doorstep, if you threaten our families, if you mistake our patience for weakness, well, you've seen what happens. 15 ships left. Then the countdown stopped. The Prometheus began to withdraw, moving backward through space in that impossible way it had. You have 12 hours to evacuate your disabled vessels and retreat beyond the border. If I detect any Crithian military presence in this sector after that deadline, I won't be nearly as merciful next time. And yes, there are more ships like the Prometheus. Several more. Sleep well with that knowledge. The transmission cut off. The human vessel vanished, folding space around itself and simply ceasing to be there. Gone. As if it had never existed in the first place. I stared at my scanner, at the graveyard of ships floating dead in space, and felt something I'd never experienced before. True, existential terror. Not fear of death. Fear of insignificance. Fear that humanity had been holding back this entire time, and would never even realized it. Zyloth finally found his voice. Get me high command. Tell them everything. As I began compiling the report that would change galactic politics forever, I couldn't help but think about all those jokes we'd made. All that laughter about the primitive humans with their single little ship. Nobody was laughing anymore. Nobody would ever laugh at humanity again. They'd made certain of that.
Hello everyone. If you are enjoying this video and finding it helpful, don't forget to support our channel. Please subscribe to our channel, press the like button, and share this video with your friends and family. Also, make sure to turn on the notification bell so you never miss our upcoming videos. We regularly upload amazing, informative, and entertaining content just for you. Your support means a lot to us and motivates us to bring even better content in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and welcome to our growing community.